Gary Kubiak comes in, and, he's got the ability to bump anybody. All right, Freddie, you're out. Gary Kubiak joining us here on the Ari and Minnick Show, 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Coach, appreciate you taking the time. We've talked a lot. We talked to you a couple years ago, about expectations for this football team. Last year, you've got this team turned around. You got into the playoffs, and you actually go into this season with legitimate expectations, Super Bowl aspirations. How different is it for you as an organization now?
Well, that's what we've been working towards, we got started with our program 6 years ago, and we had the first pick in the draft, which is not a very good thing in this business, so we had a lot of work to do and kind of remake our roster, so to speak, and develop expectations as an organization that you can win every week, and so we feel good about our team. But the one thing I really like about this group, they're focused on the work. They're not worried about what people think they're going to do. They're concerned with getting our team as good as we can be going into Miami.
Gary Kubiak joining us right here on Ari and Minnick's 1250 ESPN San Antonio. We talked earlier with Bob McNair about continuity, and for a long time there's a fan base in Houston, talking about playoffs and hoping for the playoffs, and there have been questions about the Texans with Gary Kubiak moving forward. When you look at some of these organizations that a coach every 2 years, how hard is it to build a system, a foundation with coaches having 2 years or 3 years and the commitment that the Texans have made to you?
Well, there's talk in this business all the time. So if you don't like talk, you probably shouldn't coach or play. So that doesn't concern me. The key is that you stay committed to what you're doing. And we feel like we've got a system that can win in this league and be consistent in this league. We don't just want to have a good year. We'd like to be a consistent football team that has a chance to play in January every year. So that's what we're working toward. And, all the distractions, all the things that go along with the National Football League, you got to handle them. And we're going to continue to try to do that.
You're listening here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Coach Kubiak, if there is a concern of your team, you have a great veteran leadership. We've been here 2 days, and it's unbelievable. The team that you put on the field. Is there a concern? What would it be?
Yeah, Dad. We lost some key players this year. We had I think 8 guys leave our football team that were not only good players but great people that we could count on. That's part of the business. So we've got some people to replace. The right side of our offensive line. We're going to be a fairly young team at the receiver position. Mario leaves, D'Amico leaves. Of course, that's why Brady's here. So, putting those pieces back together, this team will be different. It will be different than last year's team, but we expect to be just as successful. So I would say that's the biggest thing right now is just putting those pieces back in place and getting ready to go.
Texans head coach Gary Kubiak with us here live on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. We were talking about this earlier, maybe except for maybe the first or second year of this franchise, it seems like the defense is ahead of the offense.
Yeah, we played really well last year defensively, and throughout this camp we've been excellent. I think offensively we're doing some good stuff. We moved the ball pretty darn good last week. We've got to settle down this receiving core and what we're going to work with from there. Like I said, we're trying to rebuild the right side of our offensive line. But, we ran the ball well last week. I know we're going to have some new faces, but I expect us to continue to move the ball as we have in the past.
Gary Kubiak joining us right here on Ari and Minnick's 1250 ESPN San Antonio. It seems like you've got a good group of young wide receivers in Gene, DeVere Posey, and Keyshawn Martin. Just talk about what you have with those three.
Well, we've got their speed and youth, so those things, we're trying to improve that position on our football team as far as being able to make some big plays, giving Andre some help. Kevin's been, a steady player for us for many years. So, the talent's there, but you got to go put it together as far as what you do offensively, get the guys in the right spot. And so this camp has been extremely important to those guys. Some of them stepped up, did some good things the other night. We'll continue to push them. We got to have a couple of those guys play like 3- and 4-year players and not rookies, so that's very important to our development.
What's amazing there, Coach, is that's the first time I really saw Arian Foster out there in the field today. And can you compare him to Terrell Davis? Where does he stand? I never seen a guy that big looks so fluid.
Yeah.
And so light on his feet, and he has great vision.
Yeah, Dad, he's first off, he's a 3-down player. Those guys are hard to find nowadays. Those guys that never leave the field. Very smart in protection, so we're comfortable with him. And he's a worker. He came up the hard way, free agent, figured it out, very successful. Obviously, he gets rewarded this year. But, I've been impressed because he got rewarded from a contract standpoint, but his work has been better than it's ever been. So between he and Ben, we feel pretty good about putting the ball in their hands and running the ball, and he's grown up a lot. He's become a heck of a pro.
Now, with that said, he changes his diet to a vegan diet. How much does that concern you?
I don't care what he eats, as long as he runs, So I don't know that much about it. I just know at the team meal the night before we played Carolina, they had some special stuff brought in for him, but as long as it works, so it's fine with me.
Gary Kubiak with us here. And, Coach, you talk about him. He had the fumble. I noticed in practice he's carrying that ball high and tight. Do you have to talk to him about that, or he knows?
Well, obviously he knows, but we're going to continue to talk to him. They were in the chutes this morning, with the pads on, and Aaron's got a lot of confidence. He's got big hands. He plays the game a lot of confidence with the ball, and I don't want to take his confidence away, but, he and Matt are going to touch that ball more than anybody on this team, so they got to protect it.
Gary Kubiak joining us right here at Ari Minix, 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Talk about Wade Phillips, not only what he brings from a defensive standpoint, but the history with he and his dad in this town.
Yeah, that's been huge. He has an identity here before he ever came in last year. And, the thing that Wade brought was confidence. We had some good young players defensively. We've drafted well, we think, defensively. And, we went out and got better. We went and got Daniel Manning, got Joseph, and then J.J. comes in here. So he had a lot of ability to work with, but when he walked in the room, he brought credibility, he brought confidence to the room, and they played that way.
Good stuff. Coach Gary Kubiak, we know your time is limited. Appreciate you spending some time. Before we let you go, though, you got any dirt on Dat?
Dat kind of came. He's a lot younger than I am, so I don't know that much, but I got a lot of respect for him, I can tell you that.
Good stuff. Appreciate you taking the time with us.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you very much. Coach. Texans head coach Gary Kubiak with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio.